Today, I want to share with you 9 silent habits that, if practiced consistently, can completely change your life. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, deeply, and powerfully. You know, life is not always about doing big things in big ways. Sometimes, the greatest transformations in our lives come from the quiet, simple actions we take every day, actions that nobody notices, but that quietly shape who we are and what we can achieve. One of the most powerful of these silent habits is waking up early and thinking. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? Almost trivial. But let me tell you, the power in this habit is extraordinary, and it can completely change the course of your life if you practice it consistently. When I say waking up early and thinking, I don't mean rushing into your day, checking your phone, scrolling social media, or running to a meeting. I mean waking up before the world wakes, when the city is silent, when the air is fresh, and the noise of life has not yet begun to pull you in every direction. This is the sacred time when your mind is clear, when your thoughts are your own, when you can see your life from a distance and reflect on it with honesty and courage. There is something magical about these early hours. It is the time when ideas come to you effortlessly, when solutions appear that were invisible in the chaos of your day, when clarity of purpose arrives like the sunrise, slowly, quietly, and powerfully. I want you to imagine this. You wake up at 500 in the morning. The streets are empty. The world is sleeping. You make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, sit by the window, and look outside. There is no distraction, no urgency, no pressure. You have an hour or two to think, to dream, to plan, to question yourself. Most people never experience this, and that is why most people never achieve extraordinary things. They are caught in the noise, the rush, the constant business of life. They react to the world instead of shaping it. But when you wake up early and think, you step out of the chaos, you take control of your own mind. You decide how your day and ultimately your life will unfold. Thinking is more than just daydreaming. True thinking requires courage. It requires you to face the questions that others avoid. Am I on the right path? What am I truly good at? What am I wasting time on? What are my priorities? Many people go through life without asking these questions. They follow routines, chase money, chase recognition, chase approval, and wonder why they feel empty, frustrated, or stuck. The quiet habit of thinking allows you to pause, to step back, and to see the bigger picture. It is in this space that you find direction. It is here that you start to understand yourself, your purpose, and the actions that will move you toward a meaningful life. Let me tell you a story. There was a man I knew who worked tirelessly in his office. Every day, from dawn to dusk, he was busy, always busy. But he was never productive. He was never focused. He was constantly reacting to emails, phone calls, and the endless noise of other people's demands. He was exhausted, stressed, and frustrated. One day, a mentor gave him a simple piece of advice: wake up 2 hours earlier than everyone else and spend that time thinking about your life. The man laughed at first. 2 hours? I barely sleep 7 hours a night, he said. But he tried it. The first week was difficult. His body protested. He wanted to stay in bed. But slowly, he began to notice changes. He started writing down ideas. He reflected on problems differently. He thought about his business strategy, his personal goals, and the relationships that mattered most. Within a few months, his life began to shift. He started making better decisions, prioritizing what mattered, and letting go of what didn't. His energy returned. His focus sharpened. And eventually, his work became not just busy work, but meaningful work that brought real results. This is the power of waking up early and thinking. It is not just about productivity, it is about self-mastery. When you start your day in reflection, you are not at the mercy of the day's events. You decide your actions before the world imposes its chaos on you. You set the tone for your day. You are calm, deliberate, and intentional. You have energy for the things that truly matter, and you waste less on what doesn't. Some people ask, but what if I'm not a morning person? I can't wake up early. I'm too tired. My body needs rest. And my answer is this: nothing great comes without discipline. If you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. The body can adjust. The mind can adapt. The first week will be difficult. You will feel groggy. You will want to quit. But after consistent practice, you will discover something extraordinary. You will feel alive in the morning. Your mind will be sharper, your creativity will soar, and your confidence will grow. Waking up early becomes a secret weapon, a time when your mind is strongest, your vision is clearest, and your potential is limitless. And thinking is not limited to just planning or problem solving. It is also the time for imagination. In these quiet hours, you can dream boldly without judgment. You can envision the life you want, the person you want to become, the goals that scare you but excite you at the same time. Most people dream at night and forget by morning. You dream in the morning and you turn those dreams into actions. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. That is how vision becomes reality. Another important aspect is reflection. Waking up early and thinking gives you space to review your life. What did I do yesterday that brought me closer to my goals? What mistakes did I make and what can I learn from them? What relationships need attention? What opportunities am I ignoring? Reflection is a silent teacher. It tells you the truth about yourself in a way no one else can. And when you reflect daily, your life gradually changes. Not because of luck, but because of awareness. And let me emphasize this, it is a habit. Habits are what shape our destiny, not occasional effort. You cannot expect to wake up early once a week and see transformation. It must become a part of who you are. It must be consistent, unbroken, and sacred. Every morning you practice this habit, you are investing in your future. You are building a mind that is calm, sharp, and creative. You are creating a life that is intentional rather than chaotic. I want you to imagine your life a few years from now if you start practicing this habit today. Every morning, an hour or two of quiet thought, reflection, and planning. Every morning, a moment to dream, to imagine, to learn, to grow. Every morning, a conscious decision about how you will act and what you will prioritize. Slowly, almost invisibly, your thinking becomes sharper, your decisions wiser, your confidence stronger. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to act with clarity while others are overwhelmed by noise. You begin to build a life not by chance, but by design. So don't underestimate this silent habit. Waking up early and thinking is not just about starting your day earlier than others. It is about taking control of your mind, shaping your thoughts, and directing your life. It is about creating space in the chaos of life to dream, reflect, and plan. It is the habit that separates those who drift through life from those who navigate it with purpose, vision, and courage. Start today. Wake up just 1 hour earlier. Sit quietly, think, reflect, plan, dream, and then slowly expand it. Make it a ritual. Make it a habit. Make it sacred. Over time, you will find that this silent practice changes everything, not because of what the world gives you, but because of what you build quietly inside yourself. The sunrise is not just a beginning of a new day, it is a beginning of a new life if you choose to use it wisely. Many people think that knowledge is only useful in school, that books are for students, and that reading is just a hobby. They say, I don't have time to read, I am busy with my work, with my life. But let me tell you something important. The habit of reading every day is one of the most powerful, silent habits you can develop. It is not just about learning facts. It is not about memorizing information. Reading is a habit that shapes your mind, your perspective, your character, and your destiny. It changes the way you think, the way you solve problems, and the way you see the world. It is the invisible foundation of a life that is wise, resilient, and successful. When I say reading every day, I don't mean occasionally picking up a book when you feel like it. I mean making it a sacred part of your life, a habit that you honor as much as eating or sleeping. Even 30 minutes a day, if practiced consistently, can have a profound impact. Knowledge compounds just like money. You may not notice it immediately, but over months and years, the accumulation of ideas, insights, and wisdom transforms the way you approach challenges, opportunities, and relationships. Imagine a person who never reads, who relies only on experience and hearsay. This person is limited by their own knowledge and imagination. They make the same mistakes over and over because they have not learned from others. They see the world through a narrow lens, interpreting events only based on their personal perspective. Now imagine a person who reads every day. This person has access to the thoughts of thousands of minds across history. They can learn from the successes and failures of others. They can discover ideas they would never have thought of themselves. Their imagination expands. their creativity grows. Their solutions to problems become sharper, more effective, and more innovative. The difference is immense, and it comes quietly, without applause or recognition. Let me share a story. There was a man who worked in a small business office. He was diligent, hardworking, and determined, but he never read. He did what he was told, followed routines, and hoped for success. Then one day, a friend encouraged him to start reading. He chose a book about leadership. He started with 10 minutes a day, then 20, then 40. Slowly, he began to notice changes. The stories he read about people who faced enormous challenges inspired him. The lessons about strategy, negotiation, and communication began to influence his actions at work. Within a few years, he became not just an employee, but a leader. He could make decisions with insight, motivate others, and anticipate problems before they arose. None of this was visible to the world immediately, but the transformation came from one silent habit: reading every day. Reading is more than gaining knowledge. It is about developing empathy. When you read the stories of others, whether historical figures, fictional characters, or real-life experiences, you step into their shoes. You feel their joys and sorrows. You understand their struggles, their motivations, their decisions. This empathy is a powerful force. It allows you to communicate better, lead more effectively, and connect deeply with the people around you. Many of the greatest leaders in history were voracious readers, not because they wanted to impress anyone, but because they understood that reading shapes the mind and heart in equal measure. And reading trains your mind to think critically. When you read, you are confronted with ideas different from your own. You are challenged to question assumptions, evaluate arguments, and form your own opinions. This is a silent education, more powerful than any lecture or seminar. It equips you to make better decisions, avoid mistakes, and identify opportunities that others overlook. People who read every day are not easily swayed by trends, rumors, or panic. They analyze, they reflect, and they act wisely. Some people say, "But I don't like reading. It's boring." And my answer is simple: you haven't found the right books yet. The world is full of knowledge, stories, and wisdom that can excite, inspire, and challenge you. Biography, history, philosophy, business, science, psychology, poetry. There is something for every mind and heart. The key is to start. Pick a book, even a small one, and read a few pages every day. The habit is more important than the quantity at first. Over time, your interest will grow and your mind will hunger for more. Another aspect of reading is reflection. When you read, you should not just consume words, you should reflect on them. Ask yourself, how does this relate to my life? What can I learn from this? How can I apply this knowledge in my own context? Silent reflection amplifies the power of reading. It turns knowledge into wisdom. It turns information into insight, and insight changes lives. Reading also prepares you for the unexpected. Life is unpredictable. Challenges come, opportunities appear, and you need to adapt constantly. The person who reads every day is prepared because they have learned from the experiences of others. They have encountered ideas, problems, and solutions in books that they may never face personally, but they are ready because their mind has been trained to think, adapt, and respond. Reading is like mental rehearsal for life. It equips you with the skills, knowledge, and perspective to navigate uncertainty with confidence and creativity. And let me emphasize this: reading every day is a habit, not an occasional activity. It is silent, invisible, and often unappreciated by others, but it compounds over time. Every book, every chapter, every page adds to your mental capital. And just like compound interest in money, the results become extraordinary over the years. You may start with a few pages a day, and years later, you realize you have accumulated knowledge that allows you to think differently, act decisively, and influence profoundly. I want you to imagine your life 10 years from now if you start reading daily today. Imagine the wisdom you will have, the perspectives you will gain, the clarity of thought you will develop. Imagine the problems you will solve more easily because you have already learned solutions from the experiences of others. Imagine the relationships you will build because you understand people better. Imagine the confidence you will carry because your mind is strong, informed, and insightful. All of this comes from a habit that is quiet, personal, and often unnoticed to reading every day. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for free time. Don't wait for inspiration. Start now. Pick a book. Read even a page today. Reflect on it. Let it change you. Over time, this silent habit will shape your mind, your character, and your life. Reading every day is not just about knowledge. It is about transformation. It is about building the person you need to become to achieve the life you dream of. It is a habit that quietly, invisibly, and relentlessly changes everything. Start today. Open a book. Read, reflect, grow. Your future self will thank you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Many people think that success comes from being loud, from asserting themselves, from making sure everyone knows their opinion, their ideas, their achievements. They think that the louder you are, the more you are noticed, and the more respected you will be. But let me tell you something profound. The most powerful people in the world are often the quietest. The people who truly understand life, influence others, and achieve extraordinary results are the ones who listen more than they speak. Listening is a silent habit, often invisible, yet it has the power to transform your mind, your relationships, and your life in ways that no speech, no words, no argument ever could. Listening is not just hearing words. Many people hear, but very few truly listen. True listening requires attention, patience, and humility. It requires you to put aside your ego, your assumptions, your desire to respond, and simply understand. When you listen, you are giving someone the most precious gift you can offer, your full attention. And when you offer this gift consistently, silently, without expecting anything in return, something extraordinary happens. People trust you. Doors open for you, opportunities appear, and knowledge flows to you in ways you cannot imagine. Let me share a story. There was a young man working in a company who wanted to climb the corporate ladder. He thought the key to success was to speak often, impress everyone with his ideas, and make sure his boss noticed him. So he talked, he argued, he tried to dominate meetings. But after years, he realized that despite his efforts, he was not progressing. Then he observed a colleague, a quiet person who rarely spoke in meetings. But this colleague always listened. He asked questions when appropriate, reflected before responding, and remembered details about people and projects that others forgot. Over time, managers started to rely on him for advice, peers trusted his judgment, and opportunities that seemed out of reach came to him naturally. The difference: listening. Not speaking more, not forcing attention, but listening quietly and carefully. The power of listening lies in understanding. When you listen, you learn. You learn about the people around you, about the environment, about opportunities, and about yourself. You learn what is really going on rather than what appears on the surface. People will tell you their fears, their desires, their frustrations, but only if they feel heard. And when you truly hear them, you can respond with insight, compassion, and action. This builds trust that no amount of talking, selling, or convincing can ever achieve. Trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, every successful team, every influential leadership. Listening builds that trust silently, day by day. Listening also teaches humility. When you listen, you acknowledge that others may know something you do not. You accept that you can learn from anyone at any time. Many people fail because they believe they already know enough. They shut their ears to advice, criticism, or alternative viewpoints. But the silent listener remains open. They remain humble. They remain teachable. And in doing so, they grow faster, wiser, and stronger than those who only speak. Let's think about the world around us. How often do we listen to our employees, our colleagues, our customers, our family members? Too often, we are so busy speaking, explaining, convincing, or arguing that we miss the most important information, the truth. People reveal their real thoughts, needs, and ideas when they are truly heard. Silent listening allows you to pick up on patterns, understand emotions, anticipate problems, and recognize opportunities before they appear on the surface. Many great innovators and leaders became successful not because they had the best ideas initially, but because they listened to their customers, to their employees, to the market, and acted on what they learned. Listening transforms information into insight. Insight transforms decisions. Decisions transform lives. Listening also strengthens emotional intelligence. When you listen, you develop empathy. You feel what others feel. You see life from multiple perspectives. And empathy is one of the greatest silent powers in life. It allows you to navigate difficult situations, connect with people on a deeper level, and inspire loyalty without saying a word. Empathy builds relationships that last, not because of promises or speeches, but because people feel understood, valued, and respected. And those relationships are the foundation of long-term success, happiness, and influence. Some people argue, but if I listen too much, I will be seen as weak. People will take advantage of me. And yes, listening without discernment is not enough. Listening must be paired with wisdom. You listen to understand, not to be manipulated. You reflect on what you hear. You learn from it. You act on it strategically. The silent habit of listening is not passive. It is active, intentional, and powerful. It is a quiet force that shapes your thoughts, decisions, and actions. Another benefit of listening is self-awareness. When you listen to others, you often hear reflections of yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your blind spots. Many people are unaware of how their actions affect others. Listening provides insight into your own behavior and its impact. It is a mirror, silently showing you where you need to improve, where you need to change, and where you can grow. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of personal growth, and it begins with listening. Listening also cultivates patience. In a world obsessed with speed, instant responses, and immediate gratification, silent listening teaches you to slow down, to absorb, to reflect, and to respond thoughtfully. Patience is a rare skill, yet it is one of the most valuable in life. People who listen well are often more composed, more deliberate, and more effective in their decisions. They do not rush into action blindly. They understand context, consider options, and then act decisively. This is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results quietly and consistently. Let me emphasize one more point. Listening is not just about words. It is about observing body language, tone, and emotion. It is about sensing what is not being said. The silent listener picks up on subtle cues, understands unspoken truths, and responds appropriately. This depth of perception is rare, and it gives you an advantage that talking, boasting, or showing off can never give. Listening allows you to see the world clearly, act wisely, and influence profoundly without ever raising your voice. And here is the final truth: listening more than speaking is a habit that compounds silently over time. At first, people may not notice. At first, it may feel like you are doing nothing, but over months and years, the impact is extraordinary. Your relationships deepen, your wisdom grows, your decisions become sharper. Opportunities come to you naturally. And when you look back, you realize that your life has changed, not because of loud speeches, grand gestures, or shortcuts, but because of a quiet, consistent habit: listening more than speaking. So I encourage you to start today. Practice the silent habit of listening. In meetings, at home, with friends, with strangers. Listen without interrupting. Listen without judging. Listen to understand, not to reply. Reflect on what you hear. Learn from it. Apply it. And over time, you will notice the transformation. Your mind will be sharper. Your relationships will be stronger. Your influence will be greater. Your life will change quietly, powerfully, and irreversibly. Remember, the world is full of noise, but the people who truly succeed are those who master the art of listening. Speaking is easy, listening is rare. Start practicing today. Be silent, be attentive, be wise. And watch as the world opens up to you in ways that no words could ever achieve. Many people overlook gratitude in their pursuit of success. They are chasing money, recognition, titles, or achievements, believing that these will bring happiness. They forget that life is made up of countless small moments, small people, small acts, and small blessings that often go unnoticed. Gratitude is the silent habit that quietly reshapes your mind, your heart, and your life. It doesn't make headlines. It doesn't give instant results. But practiced consistently, it transforms everything. Gratitude is not about simply saying, "Thank you," when someone does something for you. That is polite, it is social. Gratitude, in its deepest sense, is a personal practice. It is a way of seeing the world, of noticing what is often invisible, of appreciating what others take for granted. It is the habit of consciously acknowledging the people, opportunities, and experiences in your life, even those that seem small, even those that seem ordinary. And when you do this consistently, you start to see life differently. Imagine waking up every morning and silently listing 3 things you are grateful for. At first, it might feel awkward. You might struggle to find them. But over time, your mind starts to shift. You begin to notice what you already have rather than what you lack. You start appreciating your health, your family, your friends, your work, your ability to learn, even your challenges, because challenges teach lessons that nothing else can. This shift in perspective is quiet, almost invisible to others, but it changes your energy, your attitude, and your approach to life. Let me tell you a story. There was a man struggling with his career and his personal life. He felt frustrated, stuck, and resentful. Every day he focused on what he didn't have: more money, recognition, respect. Then someone advised him to start a gratitude journal, just 5 minutes a day writing down what he appreciated. At first, he scoffed. He didn't see how writing down simple things like a colleague's help, a good meal, or a sunny day could make a difference. But he tried. Slowly, he noticed that his anger and frustration began to fade. He started seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. He treated people differently, with patience and kindness. His relationships improved, and doors began to open in his career that had been closed for years. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened quietly, day by day, because of a simple, consistent habit: practicing gratitude. Gratitude also teaches humility. When you are grateful, you recognize that your life is not solely the result of your own efforts. You acknowledge the contributions of others, the support of mentors, the kindness of strangers, and even the lessons hidden in failure. Humility is a silent strength. It allows you to connect with people authentically, to accept advice and criticism without defensiveness, and to grow continuously. People are drawn to those who are humble, not arrogant, who recognize the value of others, not just themselves. Gratitude cultivates this humility quietly, steadily, and powerfully. Another aspect of gratitude is resilience. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. Many people give up when difficulties arise because they focus solely on what has gone wrong. But those who practice gratitude see the hidden opportunities in adversity. They recognize that even challenges bring lessons, even failure brings insight, and even pain can bring growth. Gratitude doesn't erase difficulties, but it changes your relationship with them. It transforms obstacles into teachers, frustration into motivation, and loss into understanding. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. Think about this. How often do we take the people around us for granted? How often do we assume that friends, family, or colleagues will always be there without expressing appreciation? The silent habit of gratitude changes this. It makes you notice what others do for you, recognize their efforts, and act with kindness in return. And when you consistently express appreciation, even quietly, without fanfare, people respond. Trust deepens, bond strengthens, cooperation increases, influence grows. Gratitude is a quiet force multiplier in every human interaction. And gratitude is not limited to the obvious. It can be practiced for the intangible, the unseen, the overlooked. Be grateful for mistakes because they teach lessons. Be grateful for rejection because it redirects you to better opportunities. Be grateful for difficult people because they test your patience, your wisdom, and your compassion. Be grateful for your own growth because it reminds you of how far you have come. This is the depth of gratitude, a recognition that life in all its complexity is a teacher, a guide, and a gift.